Toyota Amphitheater. Special guests, Stone Temple Pilots and Rival Sons. The Smashing Pumpkins. On sale now at livenation.com as part of the Hard Rock Sacramento Concert Series. The best time to get a great deal on a Ram truck is now during the Ram Make This the Summer event. Visit ram.com or visit your local Ram dealer to find the perfect Ram truck for you. Hurry in and make this the summer you drive a Ram. And right now during the Ram Make This the Summer event, get 10% below MSRP on the purchase of 2023 Ram 1500 Bighorn, Laramie, and limited models. Not compatible with lease offers or with any other consumer incentive offers. Residency restrictions apply. Take retail delivery by 7/31.
It's Keep 'em Away with STEM. STEM is powered by active ingredients found in plants to repel mosquitoes safely and effectively when used as directed. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Kelly Clarkson, and as the daughter of a school teacher, I know just how important education is. No matter how old you are or your situation, continuing to learn will enrich your life and help remove barriers you didn't even know were there. So much opportunity, y'all. Whether it's a foreign language, history, or a different way to look at things, take some time each day to learn something new. This message is courtesy of the United States Air Force.
And the new high-yield market rate checking account at Golden One Credit Union pays higher returns while still letting my money move with me. Plus, with unlimited withdrawals and transfers and secure mobile banking, I get all the freedom of checking while earning more on the account I use most. Get more with higher checking returns at California's leading credit union, Golden One. Visit goldenone.com for more details. Insured by NCUA.
Glued to the TV watching a walk-off homer. This is the sound of that walk-off homer with a Masonite interior solid core door. Without a solid core door, you get... With a solid core door, you get... Masonite solid core doors. With 70% more sound dampening material than our standard hollow core doors, they're the official door of fanatical families and the people who love them.
You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Retail banking in California. And since California is home to most award shows, we've prepared a thank you speech for such an occasion. To the people of California, we've been proud to help you plan, budget, and save smarter in a way that works for you. Our tools and friendly advisors would have no place to really shine if it weren't for you, and we can't thank you enough for that. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for our many branches and ATMs that are always a helpful hub for U.S. Bank customers. And of course, a huge thank you to our real-life humans because they really go above and beyond for our customers every day. J.D. Power wouldn't have named us best in customer satisfaction without you. To the person recording this right now, even though we just met, you feel important to this journey too. Oh, and to our moms. Hi, moms. This award isn't just for U.S. Bank. It's for you all. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Member FDIC.
If the weather calls for rain, then the rain calls for mosquitoes. Keep them away with STEM. STEM is powered by active ingredients found in plants to repel mosquitoes safely and effectively when used as directed. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
You'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
Now back to more.
Rondo Deportes, bonjour, vidi vidi vici, let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show, my name is Jonathan of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, or the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the only show in the universe where it's 10,000 degrees. Give that some praise. It feels like 10,000 degrees in Denver Hills, California. They said there's a heat wave coming. I said, really? What made you think of that? They told us it was like 89 degrees in the morning at 6 o'clock. And they said, I think it's going to be a heat wave. Man, I could have told them that for free, if that makes sense here. What a beautiful day today in the neighborhood on a beautiful July the 17th, 2023. You can follow Big C Sports Podcast on 27 podcast platforms all over the universe and 4 TV platforms. But oh my goodness, it is so beautiful to have health, wealth, and wisdom. You can follow Big C Sports Podcast on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. I'm telling you, there's another platform going to be joining to carry Big C Sports by the end of the week in July, if that makes sense to you. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on GeoSavan out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. You can follow on Podtail, Hub Hopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Good Pods Podcast. I'm telling you, Podcast Prodigy, Podcast Republic, and the only one that used to scare me until I learned how to sing Teddy Pendergrass. It's called allface.ai. Get that some praise, because the robots, they are trying to take over. They have self-driving cars. They have self-driving trucks, 18-wheel trucks from sea to shining sea. And they even have aerial planes that can fly at 30,000 feet in the sky on autopilot, if that makes sense to you. But it gets us from sea to shining sea and across the country, if that makes sense to you. You can also follow Big C Sports Streaming, OTT, on 4 TV applications all over the universe. Find it on, oh my goodness, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. You better have a smart TV, or you might just sit there looking at a still picture. I love paying homage to our Veterans Crisis Hotline. I've been doing it well for a mighty long time. The Veterans Crisis Hotline, they will stand on their head to get you some help, and they are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones. If you know anybody that's going through some issues, you can call 800-273-8255. 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give them some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. It is so good leaning on somebody when somebody's leaning back. I heard that from Teddy Pendergrass. He said it's so good leaning on somebody when somebody's leaning back. Let me say it one more time. Come on, y'all. He said it's so good leaning on somebody when somebody's leaning back. And we want the real Teddy. You know, I think because I sound so good in the shower, I'm kind of emboldening my confidence. I'm outside singing, walking around singing, and people just say, man, why don't you turn that music box off? But you know, it's just me. There's nothing wrong with singing, but if you go too loud and people don't like it, they might tell you the middle finger salute, but this is all fair and level work. Speaking of the middle finger salute, 800 Gambler, they tell you, if you know somebody that says that they're going to do the middle finger salute to you, oftentimes we're supposed to just walk away. We're supposed to take the high road. We're supposed to take the high road. We got to take the high road because now, because of 10 million degrees in Northern California, I feel like some people just don't handle the heat very well. And you can get people that want to turn off your lights by running into the back of you. Just be careful. Everybody has to calm down when it's this hot in Deer Hills, California, and then they're having floods in the Northeast. Everybody has their own thoughts about what's going on with climate control. Yeah, I heard climate control. Nixon talked about that back in the day. But maybe that's what it is, because it's ridiculously hot. And I know it's July, which is usually the hottest month in California. But why is it raining on the East Coast? They're having flooding up in Connecticut. That makes no sense. I know you want to have this green gas, but does every place have to burn? I mean, hopefully they'll stop burning things down. I mean, that's my opinion. It just doesn't seem natural that we're having 100. I think is the temperature, the lowest for the temperature. I want to say on the news, it was Phoenix, Arizona. The lowest, I think they said the lowest was 90 degrees. Can you imagine sleeping in Deer Hills and it's 90 degrees and your AC goes out because they've had some rolling blackouts also? Just be careful out there, people. Stay watered up. You got to have that water with the minerals in it, if that makes sense to you. So that's what I'm trying to do, get more water in the system. I feel like I'm one of those water trucks because I've been drinking so much water. It's like I'm drinking 20 gallons of water and I don't even have to pee. There's so much of the water. Got to make sure it's the right kind of water, if that makes sense to you. But I do want to say what I love about the 800 Gambler. They tell you that something's risky. Now, if they're going to tell you that something's risky, then maybe you should not do it. But people do gambling all the time. And they tell you they come with substantial risk. They always tell you, if you deal with us, you may get fleas. Would you imagine going to a dog pound and you want to adopt a dog, but you're going to get that dog that's over in the corner all by himself, and he's just scratching. He's just scratching and scratching and scratching. He's just scratching himself. All the other dogs, they're not scratching. But who's going to buy that dog that's just scratching? He's scratching and licking, kind of like an old dirty man in the club. Just scratching and looking for someone to take him home. Scratching and licking. Don't buy the dog that's scratching and licking, and don't let the dirty man in the club take you home if he's been scratching and licking as he's dripping, if that makes sense to you. I tell you, there's so much I love about doing the Big C Sports Podcast, but the heat index in Northern California, it's made a lot of people a little bit loopy, especially on the highways. Be careful. I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe, just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. You know something? I was talking to a prophet on the East Coast this morning, and she's been prophesizing a lot of things that have been so accurate about my life in the last 12 months or 13 months. It's amazing. She said there's something great coming to California, and it's called reparations. It's hit the whole world. It's just a lot of our brethren, they don't like to talk about it because they've been told don't talk about it. But God said in Genesis 1:3, God said, let there be light. And light showed up. And now God's saying, let there be reparations. And reparations are showing up to get that some praise. If you want to know about reparations, just follow Big C Sports, because I seem to be the only guy that's not afraid to talk about it. A lot of our other sports brethren, they still want to say, man, do you know what time the game starts? It's a shame, because this is a seminal moment for all people, especially Black Americans. There's 9 series DNA, and some of us just won't do it. White man Gavin Newsom ordered a mandate. He said, we're going to talk about reparations and how to do it. And then some of our major sports stars that have been pumped up in front of your face all over television and radio, they say nothing. That's a shame. That's why you got to follow Big C Sports. And I'm telling you, and I mean that with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. I also want to say that I always produce the show. My show's not like any other show. I think I might be the only sports show in the universe. I do it myself. I produce it by myself. I don't have a crew of 15 people, no producer. It's just me, God, and my higher self. But I'm telling you something. I've been asked to do so many things this year, especially this 2018 And in 23, it's been like a Moet manifestation. I call it meditating. And so I always honor God. I always walk and talk by faith and not by sight. I've been getting about 4 hours of sleep. I know they say that's not healthy, but I have a clue. The reason I can't get sleep is I keep playing Teddy Pendergrass. And Teddy Pendergrass is even trying to talk to me because I'm up meditating so many times. Oftentimes I get woken up by turn them off. And he tells me to turn off the lights, but I assume he's talking to somebody else, so I keep my lights on. Anyway, I always produce the show. That's number 1. And number 2, I direct the topics. And number 3, I broadcast all the shows. Number 4, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our life. I know I can use more laughter. Laughter is good for the soul. And then I'm telling you, the commercials are done. The stats provided, the storytelling, the play-by-play. We're deep in the heart of baseball season. Runners on first and third. The count's full. The pitch, curveball, struggle to hit deep. Right field, back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. And that just seems to be the way it is in life, in all fair love and war. If somebody's throwing you curveballs and you're trying to hit deep and you keep missing, keep trying. God shows us the bumpy road and the smooth road. The bumpy road and the smooth road. People say, I would never drive down a bumpy road if I had the chance to drive down a smooth road. Really? Really? Because in life, you get shown the bumpy side of people and the smooth side of people. And we got to choose which person we're going to deal with. The one that comes with a lot of drama. There's always something wrong. Let me explain to you what happened. Let me tell you why people don't like you. And you'd be a damn fool to deal with those people. There's oftentimes the antithesis of that. People that are kind. People that are loving. People that say, how can I be of help to you? Is there anything I can do to help you move your business forward? I really appreciate you. You're amazing. And give that some praise. I had somebody tell me it was a compliment that I had to take because it was a compliment. And sometimes we so used to listening to bull crap. When someone gives us a compliment, we might think, oh, that person's shucking and jiving. Why would you say something nice about me? But I tell you something, I was told just last weekend by another person in media, and in fact, it's on my phone. I can't play it on my phone. But he said, "Man, you have $1 million voice. Woo, that's a good sounding voice." And I thought, okay, well, thank you. I've heard that all my life. And then, but some people said my voice sucks too, so I've heard it all. But then another man in media, he said, Charlton, you remind me of that brother that's been one of the greatest voices in the history of the world. And he said, you remind me of James Earl Jones. He said, you remind me of James Earl Jones. And to me, my father's voice sounds like James Earl Jones. I always think that James Earl Jones is one of the best voices ever because James Earl Jones played in Star Wars Darth Vader. That's what I love about James Earl Jones. And when you said, I mean, come on. I don't know anybody outside of my father that sounds like James Earl Jones. But to have that kind of a compliment for somebody that says that, I just want to give that praise. Sometimes you're so used to people trying to tear you down and say that you suck and trying to point out, yeah, I remember when you fumbled on the 1-yard line. But they don't remember the time you scored 25 touchdowns in a year. They'll remind you that 1 or 2 times you fumbled, but they don't give you praise for the time you scored those 22 touchdowns or 27 touchdowns, whatever it happens to be. But I feel like to get that kind of compliment, because I've been telling people that my father's, he is the one that had the James Earl Jones voice. It's all fair and love and war. And I really do appreciate that. Because when someone gives you a compliment, just give that praise. Sometimes if someone insults us, we tend to pay more attention to that person that's trying to destroy our reputation than someone that says, I love your voice, you do a great job, I love your show. I want to give that some praise. I got a gentleman sent me some information, and I'll get into it later, but it's nice when somebody reaches out with compliments as opposed to insults. So I just want to say, I want to thank people for that. And then the show's uploaded to 27 multiple podcast platforms out of New York City. I'm in Dimdale Hills, California. And I never missed a show since starting Big City Sports with the crew back at Salem Media. I want to do something that is so important to me. I love talking about it because it's real. And I know oftentimes people may think, oh man, you're just talking. But I do believe that everyone has to have someone that keeps them safe. I remember I was talking to a pastor, and he said oftentimes when he's giving speeches, he has someone that say, hey, you're doing a good job, but you're only a man. You're doing a good job, but you're only a man. And I'm telling you with my own 2 cents, I had my prophet pray over me over this morning and said reparations coming to California. And I've been saying it first. I know a lot of people are afraid, but everything she's talked about has come true in my life in the last year. And whether that's $10 million per Black American or $5 million or $3, whatever it is, it's coming. Give Cummings some praise. It's just coming and coming and coming, and it's going to keep coming until it gets here. And for those of you who are afraid, don't worry about it, because the paycheck will not be televised, and you can stay in fear and that macabre mentality you have. Oh, it ain't never going to happen. You're probably right. It won't happen to people that don't apply for the money as it comes in. I want to touch on something that's important to me, because we have so much opportunity in this country. If you lead, you can also be afraid. Like some people are afraid of their own shadow. Oh, my shadow, it scared me. Your shadow is the only thing that stays with you 24 hours a day. Even in the dark, it stays with you 24 hours a day. I want to thank Janie Har of the Associated Press, because she called me on March 29th, 2023, and she asked me about reparations. And I said, reparations now! Reparations forever! And she said, well, I didn't even ask the question. I said, but I know what you're calling. And do I believe in reparations? I said, yeah, we want the same thing our Jewish brethren got. And at the same time, people sometimes, they want to live in fear. They have this, well, show me first, and then I'll believe you. And those are the people that probably won't get paid because they don't ask for the money. And they don't even know what's going on with it. And that's a shame, but they know who won an ESPY. But they don't know how to apply for money that's been given and set aside for Black Americans. And give that some praise, because it's set aside for us already. Jenny Har interviewed Big C Sports, Charlton Curry, about reparations. She didn't call some of the other programs that are propped up in front of you, and when they get a microphone in their hand, they say nothing about it. Some of our black folks are something else, because we talk about things in private that are true. And then we get out into the mainstream and we say, well, you got to put on that smiling face, because oftentimes people don't really like you anyway. Some do, some don't. But when you think about the history of this country, oftentimes people have to put up with a lot of garbage. They have to put up with a lot of garbage just to believe that they could have equal opportunity. But now it's coming because of the law. I'm also going to do something with my own voice. I'm going to petition the clergy to get behind the attorneys that are pro-reparations. Because in the article, you got to think about this. Janie Har interviewed Charlton Curry of Big C Sports. She didn't interview anybody else that you see propped up on television. A lot of those guys since been fired. And they could use the reparations, but they were told, don't talk about it. You shut your mouth. They were told, shut up. But she interviewed Charlton. This before people got fired. That got to tell you something. She didn't go to some of the more well-known people that are out there on your TVs and radios. How did she come to the person that did not get fired? That's just God. You got to get that some praise. You would have thought of any sportscaster, especially the black guys, in the universe, that she would have gone to other people that are more well-known. But she didn't. You know, a lot of those guys got fired. I'm not happy they got fired. But some of those same guys that refuse to talk about reparations, and now they need reparations. And Massa fired them during the summertime when they're on vacation with their families. They've already paid for the vacation to travel around the world. Many of them maybe have overextended themselves thinking they're going to get paid again when the season begins. Because that's a fact. And Massa was so cold, Massa didn't fire them at the end of last season so they could have a chance to land on their feet, maybe with another network, or do it on their own. Massa fired them around the end of June. And the season starts up at the end of August. It doesn't give people a chance to do anything. They're kind of stuck because those broadcast schedules are already set. She also mentioned President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, California Governor Gavin Newsom, and also California Senator Stephen Bradford, among many other people. Reverend Tony Pierce, the President and CEO of the National Black Wall Street Project, and just a lot of people that are part of it. But I want people I know you want to know who won the game. In my show, we'll talk about that too. But I believe when reparations are announced, there'll be so many people playing games, they won't even get their money. They think, someone's going to knock on my door and say, hey, did you hear about the reparations that you just received? And people say, oh, man, I don't believe in reparations. There's not one Jewish brethren. I mean, there might be 1% that don't believe in it. But Jewish brethren understand this. Google the Survivors Today Act of 2017 is the Justice for Uncompensated Survivors Today Act of 2017 is United States legislation that requires the State Department to report to Congress on steps that 47 countries in Europe have taken to compensate Holocaust survivors that black soldiers helped liberate when Hitler was in charge, and their heirs for assets seized by Nazi Germany and post-war communist governments. And then you have some of our black brethren, they get up on the ESPYs, they say nothing about what's being done for them in California. That doesn't make any sense to me, but sometimes people perish for the lack of knowledge, or sometimes they just don't know any better, and that's okay too. I do want to say the United Nations Human Rights Chief calls for reparations for descendants of chattel slavery in the United States. The United Nations even talked about it. But at the ESPY, some of our brethren, they just don't get it. It's a shame. It's a shame, and some are so cynical, they say, oh, that money's, it's just going to go right back to Massa anyway. Well, some people, that's how they get down. But for the smart people, they're going to get some financial counseling, and they're going to create annuities or whatever financial products they want, and live on the interest. It's coming. I want to pay homage to this is something that I've been able to meet every single one of these individuals I'm going to talk about. The California Reparations Task Force, give it some praise. The only one ever had the last meeting June 29th, 2023. It was at the Secretary of State building in California. And still a lot of men, they talk about, man, did you see who this guy got traded to? Did you see that this team wants to trade that guy? Did you see that team doesn't want to offer a contract to that guy? But this task force is to help every black American, the people who were harmed during the slave trade, the Middle Passage, and the 100 years of Jim Crow. I want to thank the chairperson, Camila Moore, brilliant. Dr. Amos C. Brown, vice chair, brilliant. California Senator Stephen Bradford, brilliant. Arguably the best senator in the United States. Council member Monica Montgomery Steppe, brilliant. Assembly member Reginald Jones Sawyer, brilliant. Dr. Shell Grillis, brilliant. Lisa Holder, brilliant. Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at Berkeley, brilliant. And Donald K. Tamaki, brilliant. I want to give them some praise. Have personal conversations with Donald K. Tamaki. Have personal conversations with Lisa Holder. Personal conversations with Camila Moore, the chair. Personal conversations with Dr. Amos C. Brown, the vice chair. And personal conversations with the California senator, and arguably the best senator in the country, that's Stephen Bradford, responsible for name, image, and likeness. Give that some praise. These are not people sucking and jiving. And to me, I had a little bit of egg in my face because I said some of our most propped up, well-known athletes are going to talk about it. And I'm not saying anybody has to do anything. Some guys just don't know any better. They already got $20 million contracts every year. But this goes to people of color, black people. And your children, and your children's children, and your children's children's children will benefit from this. Black Americans were excluded from the Homestead Act 1862. It only gave land to white people and white Europeans. It told black people no. That's why the wealth gap in the United States is so vast. When you own land, you can go to a bank and get a loan on that land. You can sell that land. You can farm that land. You can put buildings on that land. It accumulates wealth. But black Americans got robbed. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. According to Einstein, when you have 40 acres of land, you're gonna get some compound interest. We didn't get it. They're even giving Ukrainian citizens $4,500 a month to come to the United States. They're not giving black Americans that. And that's why it's important to understand it. And that's what I'll talk about it. I always will. I really do appreciate it. There's a lot of great things happening. And I love being a part of that. And I want to just say, give that some praise. I want to talk about this thing that I learned when I was a young boy. And I liken it to myself. I've been having some Moet manifestations and some things that have been happening to me that are so good over the last year. I mean, over the last really 6 months, going on 7 months now. It's like, I thank God for it. There's a parable of the talents. It's in Matthew 25:14-30. It tells of a master who was leaving his house to travel. And before leaving, he entrusted his property to the servants, according to the abilities of each one. Think about that. But before he took off, he gave some men some talents. And it's applicable to our lives now, because a lot of people, they're afraid to use the talents that were given to them. So according to the abilities of each man, one servant, he received 5 talents. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5. The second man had received 2 talents, like 1 and 2. And the third man received only 1 talent. Like I do my show, I'm one individual. I'm asking for $6 billion. And I'm asking people that know that I'm real. Because if you're going to pay for crap, and you're going to make multimillionaires out of people that got fired because people got tired of the leftovers, that spoiled milk, who's going to drink 6-day-old spoiled milk been sitting out in the heat because you forgot to put in the refrigerator? It's the same old leftovers. People get tired of leftovers. They're not that good after a day or two. And I think a lot of those guys got let go because of what I'm going to say here. It's my higher self talking to me. It just is what it is. And some people don't like when I talk like this. But I'm talking to God. If it's not for you, change the channel. But God said, when you think about the talents, the person that received the 1 talent, like the person doing his podcast all by himself, the master came back and said, well, how'd you do with the 1 talent I gave you? And he said, well, it's kind of scary out there in this strange new world. Sometimes people join you, and sometimes people, they jump off the ship. And then you're sitting there all by yourself saying, what do I do? And I said, give God praise. So I started giving God praise. I took that talent with a group of people, created the Big C Sports Podcast. And then as people do their own different thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I said, this is in my heart, mind, body, and soul. Because had I quit, I wouldn't have the opportunities I have now because of the show. I'm talking about on a worldwide level. You got to give that some praise. I'm not sending out resumes. I've been prophesied over, and it's coming to me. And I thank God for it. I just keep giving God praise for it. I deserve it. So I took that 1 talent that God gave me, and it's been my voice. My grandmother told me when I was 8 years old, she said, there's something about your voice. I love when you speak. And I have a lot of passion. I think some people can tell. I enunciate my words. I'm not illiterate, not even a little bit. I don't mince words. And some people don't like that. They want you to walk around with your head between your tail. Oh, you just arrogant. Look at him being arrogant. I remember when you didn't have such and such. I eliminated those people out of my life. You either for me or against me. All I need is God. And whoever God brings to me, give that some praise. Don't chase people. When you chase people, that means they're running away. Don't chase them. Let them come to you. You just petition God. God will bring people to you that are supposed to be in your life. The people aren't supposed to be there. They'll flee from you. Water finds its own level. So I took that talent, and I've been running with Big C Sports. It's got me, I got to say this, because it's got me some opportunities in life, even with the governor of California, with senators in California, and CEOs of companies in California, because they heard the show. They said, damn, I like what you're doing. Not everybody does, though. But God put me around the people that could benefit me, because I'm a giver. I give first. I always give. And I don't expect nothing back from the person I give to. It comes from other people. It's called seeding. When you sow a seed, you ain't got to sow it to the church. You can sow it to whoever you feel has a need. And God will bring other people to you. It works. It's been working in my life. So that's my story on that. And then, and so God said, well, good job. I'm proud of you. I'm going to expand your horizon. He said, Genesis 13:15, God said in a dream, he said, for all the land that thou seest will I give you. And it's coming. And I told God I want $6 billion. And I mean that. And then the second person that was given 2 talents, the master came back, said, well, how'd you do with the 2 talents? And the servant said, well, God, well, master, kind of scary out there in this strange new world. A lot of people on the internet all the time. A lot of people don't even shake hands now. They just text you all day. You can tell somebody, come downstairs for dinner, and they don't answer, but you text them, they come back downstairs. Business is that way. Technology, emails, internet, web calls, Zoom calls. California, the marketplace for residential real estate is falling. People working from home. So things have changed. So the man giving 2 talents said, well, God, it was kind of scary, so I saved some of my talents. You know, I put some of them in the stock market. I put some other in trying to start another business. But I'm telling you, I had to save some for a rainy day. I was in the bank today. There was a man in line saying he was overdraft by $13. I wanted to give him the money, but I didn't. Maybe I should have. But I would have had to walk past other people. I didn't want to embarrass them. But I heard the lady say, yeah, you're over. You have a $13 overdraft. The man was so embarrassed. She didn't have to say it that loud, but she did. And I just hope that he can go cut someone's lawn and make $20 and cover that overdraft. But so God told the person, or the master told the person with the 2 talents, well, you did well. At least you made something out of it. And then, how's that, Mr. Fung? The ones that were given 5 talents. You know, these guys signing these 5-year, $100 million contracts, 10-year, $200 million contracts, 3-year, $40 million contracts. You would think they would be out championing more for other people because they already got it made. And maybe they have a contract that says you can't talk. Don't you dare talk about helping black people. Maybe they have that contract. Well, Gavin Newsom, he had a mandate for it. And so some of our brethren, and I'm not saying their names, but some of them shoot a hole-in-one up in the golf course, and people say, give them praise. Somebody wins a golf tournament, they give them praise. Somebody gets an award or an ESPY, they give them praise. And not one of them said anything about helping young black people, other than Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter, then reparations should matter. You got to give that praise. All that shucking and jiving. See, people want to give us words. Show me the money. What did 2 Live Crew say in the movie Jerry Maguire? He said, show me the money. Man, that wasn't 2 Live Crew. That was that good old boy, Tom Cruise. Okay, Cuba Gooding Jr. But the point is there. Even in the movie Jerry Maguire, Cuba Gooding Jr. played a football player for the Arizona Cardinals. And he asked for the money. And it was a pretty good movie. He had Tom Cruise, Cuba Gooding Jr., and those guys are getting paid in Hollywood. I'm even asking Tom Cruise to start championing reparations. A lot of black men have gone to sing your shows. I saw the movie Top Gun maybe 3 or 4 times. Even the second one. If we got to get Ben Rames to do it, we'll do it. I'm just asking a lot of our Hollywood brethren, Denzel Washington, Sam Jackson, Morgan Freeman, we're not getting any younger. And you guys are brilliant men. You're like the paragons of virtue when it comes to acting. And here I am, the man given 1 talent, and you guys have been given tens of millions. And I know you do your philanthropic work, but could you imagine the voice of our beautiful, shining 9 Series DNA black men if they stand up and do what people did when South Africa had apartheid, and they say reparations now, reparations forever. Imagine if they just did what Big C does. I'm not saying I do everything right. I make my own mistakes in life. But I know I'm on top of this game because, oh my God, not only did my pastor prophesy over it, but there's so many things that have happened to me, and people heard it because of the Big C Sports Podcast. It's heard all over the world. Give that some praise. I got some people from Africa saying, man, I love the show. From the Olympics. And here I am, God gave me 1 talent. My voice and my passion. I don't try to please nobody. But God, sometimes the people I've tried to please the most, they've turned against me. And that's okay. Because they don't grant my favor. God does. So if you got people turning away from you, they got their own problems. They got their own problems. Instead of coming to me and asking me a question, they want to listen to someone put their mouth on me. Let them go. I always pray for them, wish them the best. But I mean that. When this reparations happen, there's going to be a lot of people calling me, hey, Curry, how we get that reparation thing? Understand that. So when God told the one with the 5 talents, what'd you do with the talents I gave you? They said, well, it's been kind of scary out there. Thanks to you, all these talents I got, I made a $20 million a year playing with balls. I got a $100 million contract because I'm good playing with balls. I got a $100 million contract because I'm a great actor. I've been doing my thing. And God said, what have you done for the least of yours? Because reparations is going to bless people. And Abraham Lincoln, the Emancipation Proclamation, promised black Americans 40 acres and a mule. It was black Americans that helped the Union win the Civil War. They were going to lose to the Ku Klux Klan and the Southern Confederates. But God used some people and told them, if you help us win the war, you're going to earn your freedom and 40 acres and a mule. And when these guys, they had a microphone put right in their hand. You know, people will call, hey man, hey C, I was wondering if I could be on your show. I know a lot of well-known people. I'm not name dropping, but I do. And some of them, I see them at the microphone at the ESPYs, and they say they're quiet as a mouse. And you got a white man that mandated the task force in California named Gavin Newsom. And they didn't even support him. It helps all of our people. All of us. Yada, 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 shucking and jiving, walking around on TV with no clothes on. That's what a lot of guys, they want that from our people. That's not our culture. But that culture, you almost have to be a stripper to be a famous person nowadays. We have so much more ability than that. So much more pride and joy in history. And so sometimes when people say, man, you talk too much about politics, it's the talking about politics and sports that has opened up the universe. I'm being invited to speak at national events now. More than I ever have, but just doing real estate. And I thank God for that. And so I'm saying, if you got talents, don't be afraid to use them. Don't be afraid to use them. Because we all need somebody to lean on. Give that some praise. We all need someone to lean on. And speaking of leaning on, I just want to say, I want to pay homage to my family, because tonight is a Powerball that I won. You laugh all you want. It has the $900 million. Like the 9 series DNA, the 00 and the 0. There's 2 zeros. Or people say 00. And the number 9. Everybody has their own thoughts about it. There's something about the numbers, like the 9 series DNA, and then the 00 on the back of that 9. Something about the 9s. I like to give them the 9s praise. 9 series DNA. I want to just mention this because it's one of the biggest jackpots ever, and everybody has their own thoughts about it. It can be life-changing, but it's only going to be life-changing for the people who match the 6 numbers. You know what's going to be life-changing even more so than 1 or 2 people winning the Powerball? You want to know what's more life-changing than that? Reparations. You got to give it praise, because it's going to help a lot more people than the Powerball will. And Big C Sports talks about both. So I just wanted to bring that up. It's important to me, as a lot of other people are trying to figure out what they're going to do with their lives. I want to touch on some things that are happening in the NFL, football universe. I know we have baseball, swinging the bat. We got a lot of things that are happening in the world of sports. But there's something that I want to bring up, because it's just real for a lot of men, especially men of color. It says the NFL world is praying for the legendary Cowboy star, Michael Irvin. The playmaker went to the University of Miami, wore number 47. But Sunday afternoon, people all throughout the NFL world, they're praying for Michael Irvin, a renowned football player for the Dallas Cowboys. And Irvin has been quite candid about his mental health, saying that as of late, he has been facing a number of challenges that have been very trying for him. And the legendary Cowboy player was accused of inappropriate behavior at a hotel during the Super Bowl that he refutes the claims made against him. And based on what I saw, the video camera backs him up. It supports him. And people might say, yeah, but what about the past? Well, everybody has a past. But he lost his job based on an accusation that, based on the videotape, it was false. But as a black man, you don't get a lot of leeway. So even me, as a man of color, when I start dealing with people, especially females, I always tell somebody who I'm going to deal with. I always tell somebody who I'm going to meet, what I'm meeting for, because it takes an accusation that can cost you a lot of pain. And that's a fact. So with Michael Irvin's situation, could very be well right, due to the fact that he'd been dealing with a lot of that stuff since the Super Bowl, that he was in a depressed state of mind. He needed to get away. And he was responsive to a lot of his friends that reached out to him, said, thanks, bro. And fans of the NFL are holding out hope that everything would turn out okay. Why would it not already be okay? Based on the audio tape, he did nothing. The lady was shown walking back into a room. You can see another man, Caucasian man, gesticulations showed that he wasn't happy with her. I'm not saying anything. I don't know anything about the case other than what I've seen on television. And a lot of NFL worlds telling Michael, we got your back. One of your fans said that they love watching your commentaries and hope that you'll be back soon. But here's a man that was put on leave by a network for an accusation. And the videotape exonerated him. Now, maybe there's more to the story than I know. They didn't call him and give his job back, did they? They said you're one of the people on the planet that many of us consider to be among our most favorite. And we always got you, big dog. One fan added, stay strong, Michael, remarked one of your fans. Another one of the Playmakers fans said, keep your head up. Playmaker, just keep living. And again, everybody has their own side of the story. When it comes to what you do, Michael, you are the best there is. And one of your fans pleaded with you to please don't give up and to continue to be one of the best sports commentators in the business. I would encourage Michael Irvin, start your own podcast. Why are you begging somebody who don't like you to let you come back? You got money. You got money. Why are you begging somebody to bring you back when they threw you under the bus? You got to look at that. Don't chase people. If you chase people, that means they're running. If you just work on your own skill, people will find you. When you're ready, the teacher will come get that some praise. Don't chase nobody. Just chase God. And again, I don't know everything about that story, but I do know what I saw with my own two eyes. And what I saw with my own two eyes should not cost a man a job. I am a man. I'm not a famous person. Don't want to be a famous person. But I too get proposition. And that's why I always take a picture and I'll show somebody this the person that I'm going to meet for a meeting. Because people right now, especially since I've been talking about this reparations, almost everybody I know, they want, and you know, I need $200 million. I'm telling you the God's truth. And there are sometimes as black men, you don't get the leeway that our white brethren get. You can lose your job, $1 million job, over an accusation. We love you, brother, but somebody accused you, and you gotta go. It's a shame. I've talked to a lot of professional athletes, and we know many of them that have been caught up in the media. I'm not saying they're all innocent. I'm not saying they're all guilty. But there's a time when even an accusation can get you in trouble. That's why you got to have someone on your side. That doesn't say, oh, you're just being arrogant. Oh, you just bragging. Oh, you think everybody wants you. So no, I'm asking you to keep me safe. Because some people, they're trying to set you up. And a lot of men, they need somebody. And women too. Don't go meeting someone on your own. Let people know who that person is. Let people know who that person is that you're meeting. I mean, every person that ends up hurt in the United States and they can't find them, the law enforcement shows up, and do you know who they were spending time with? No. Do you know where they went? No. Who's the last person they talked to? I don't know. Because people do things in secret. They're clandestine. Always have somebody you can talk to. I'll never forget one time, and I tell this story to people. I went on a real estate listing. It's about 15 years ago. I went to this lady's house, and I told someone, this is where I'm going. This is who she is. When I get there, call me in 10 minutes. And I'll tell you, yeah, I'm almost finished with this contract, and I'll call you when I'm leaving. That keeps me safe. Because this lady came to the door in her lingerie to do a real estate listing. Why are you coming to do a real estate listing in lingerie? Because men got to be careful too. Most men are stronger than women, but you got to be careful too. And I look at what's happening to Michael Irvin, that's happened in broad daylight. And nobody is coming to his side that has the power to say, here's your job back, except for one person. And that one person that can give Michael Irvin a job, his name is Michael Irvin. You got enough money? Start a podcast, get together with a couple of other ex-teammates that also need work, go after your sponsorship, tell them if they sponsor your show, you can do an hour show every day like Big C Sports does. I'm not begging someone to affirm the action. Now I got people calling me saying, hey, would you like to be a part of this show? I'd rather be a big fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond. Out of 250,000 podcasts all over the world, I'm in the top 100. That's the top 1%. And I don't have that junk around me with people trying to sabotage me. That happened when I started out. There were some white brethren that they didn't take too kindly, and you outstepping your line. You getting too big for your britches. You act like you on the show. Because I walk up to people and ask them for an interview and get it on tape. I'll never forget, we were at Super Bowl 50, and one of the persons I was working with, he was so jealous about, hey, you act like it's your show, man. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, you're just asking everybody for the interviews. You don't give me a chance to ask anybody. I said, there's like 20,000 people down here at Union Square, over there by the tower in San Francisco, by the Hyatt Regency. That's where a lot of the media people were standing. I said, just go pick somebody and talk to them. He said, every time I go to talk to somebody, you already beat me to it. I said, okay, well, go do your thing. Jealousy, creative shenanigans. And that's how Big C Sports got started. Because one of my so-called Christian brethren was calling me the N-word, not to my face, but he sent it in a text. And I sent that text to everybody we know. I sent it to everybody. He was, you uppity N-word. You blinking N-word. You uppity N-word. N-word, N-word, N-word. But he was a so-called Christian, white Christian. I sent it out to everybody. He denied it. He said, man, I'm sorry, brother. Somebody stole my phone. Somebody stole my phone. I was drunk and somebody stole my phone. And they sent that out to you. I said, really? Did you ever get your phone back? He said, yeah, I got the phone back. I said, well, who stole the phone and did it? He said, well, I don't want to bring it up. I said, you and I both know you did it. He said, well, why'd you have to send it out to everybody? I said, because everyone should know who you are. He broke down, started crying, said, man, I apologize. I don't know what I was doing. I was drinking too much and it just happened. I said, did somebody steal your phone and do it, or were you drinking too much and it happened? He said, well, I'm sorry, brother. I was drinking too much. And I don't know what happened to me, man. But will you forgive me? I said, I forgave you when you did it. But I just hope that you got a 13-year-old daughter, and I hope that she doesn't meet someone who is sorry as you. Because that can mess her up. Because of how sorry you are. But you don't owe me no apology. Because those words you said, I never owned them. If somebody offers you a gift and you don't accept it, who owns it? The person with the gift. If you don't accept what they give you, don't they still own the gift? But it's propelled me to just always believe in God all my life. Mama said, baby, just pray. So that's what I do. And because of that, I'm being asked to do some things in Washington, D.C. I'm not a politician. I'm not a lawyer. But people say, man, you got a great voice. When you speak, people listen. And I know that's true because I've heard that all my life. But at the same time, I also have the opportunity to walk down that bumpy road. Because I've met a lot of those people too. The people that hate you. The people that talk bad about you behind your back. The people that try to destroy your character. I've met those people too. They smile on your face. And then they get in room. They get around other sorry people. Sorry ass people. And they want to put their lips on you. No pun intended. But they want to try to bring you down. But if you trust God, it won't work. That's why I just give God praise. I love giving God praise. And I encourage other people to do that too. And again, I don't know Michael Irvin, but I do know, or what I do know, and what I saw, it doesn't make sense that the man doesn't have a job. When what he was accused of doing, when the videotape came out, he did nothing. There have been situations where other men have done physical harm to women. They sit those guys out for a couple of games or maybe a year. Next thing you know, they're playing again. And that's what on tape. So that's, for me, you young athletes, be careful. When I was first recruited to play college football, I remember there's a young lady that showed up, and she had some short pants on, really short. You could see the bottom of her buttocks. And she had this halter top. You could see the mid-belly button, boobies pushed all up in the air, to show some men around the city and around the campus. This is where all the guys hang out. You can get free drinks and free food. Is there anything you want? You see anything you want? Do you see anything you want? Is there anything you want? Is there anything you want? No, I just want to go back to campus. But the average young man, because he hasn't been raised properly, he might lay down with that woman. Next thing you know, it's called the Me Too movement. It's cost a lot of men. And don't think it won't bite you. And obviously, I don't know what happened in his situation, but there are times when you got to trust God, and all things look good to you ain't good for you. Prayer brings people to you that's supposed to be in your life. But if you're out there dealing with all this confusion and this drama and this junk, and everybody you talk to, they got something negative to say about something else behind their back. They won't say it in front of that person, but they'll say behind that person's back. It's happened to me. It's happened to me too. It happened to a lot of people. But you got to be strong and always let a friend know where you are. There's no need in meeting up with somebody that nobody knows about but you. Men and women. Have somebody you can talk to and say, yeah, I like this person. Gonna meet this person for coffee. Or this person and I gonna go out to a movie. That's how you stay safe. That's how we tell our kids. I mean, smart parents do that. Foolish parents say, oh, no one needs to know what you're doing. No one needs to know where you're going. There was a lady, can't remember what state, that she was helping a toddler. It was just on the news, and she was missing for a couple of days. I don't know what happened. I didn't watch the whole story, but she was missing for a couple of days trying to help a toddler near the side of the road and ended up missing. I think the outcome is they found her, and she's safe as far as I know. But isn't it better to let people know where you are? Working in real estate in Dimdale Hills, California, talk to a lot of law enforcement. They always say when you do an open house, let somebody know who you're going to do the open house with. Whether you're a man or a woman, don't do it by yourself because you don't know what person's coming up in there. I want to go upstairs and see what's upstairs. Another person stays downstairs. They want to see what's downstairs. They tell you stand at the front door. Go ahead and look at the house, see what you want to see. You want to make an offer, make an offer. But can you come up here and show me what this... I don't understand the upstairs bathroom. I have a question about the crown molding. Can you tell me about it? Oh, no, not right now. You go ahead and take a picture of it, and then we'll show it to the homeowner. They can tell you later. Oh, no, why don't you come upstairs and show me? Men and women got to be careful in an open house. Don't do them by yourself. You got to have someone to protect you, and that's my story. I'm sticking with it. But Michael Irvin's situation was on tape, and he lost his job over an accusation that, according to my eyes, it was false. Were you going to believe me or your lying eyes? And I said eyes, E-Y-E-S. Don't get offended. But men and women, you got to be careful. In Dimdale Hills, there are sometimes people looking to take you for granted. And you got to be prayed up. And you got to let somebody know where you are. You got to do that. If we're smart enough to do that, then I think we'll be okay in life. Give being smart some praise. Because if we can do that enough, we keep women safe, we keep men safe, and for anybody that thinks that he's going to do it the way he wants to do it because he's smarter than everybody else, and you realize that the great Michael Irvin right now is going through some depression according to some sources when he should be getting ready for the football season. I don't know what he's done, But I'm saying anyone can be accused. But nowadays, everyone has videotape or video phones, cameras. You can see if the man's innocent or not. But he's still without a job. Let people know where you are, who you're with. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad. And fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber. You can call Lyft. You can call a cab. You can sleep it off. The person that you say it may be you. Just don't do it. My beautiful mother always says, there's no excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911 because things change when the police show up. And every woman has the right to be protected and safe, and men too. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. And he would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. All this big sea bird is out of my feet. That's why I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee, and I'm always rumbling. I'm telling you, everybody has a story. Make sure your story has someone who's there to help you, to light you, to guide you through the storm, to clear the fog, to make sure you have an alibi. Because here's a man, I know he loves football. I know he loves what he does. As a player, or former player, and now an erstwhile analyst. I would just encourage you, Michael, quit begging the people that turn their backs on you and go do your own thing. If you can give that some praise, you'll be all right. Well, that's my story. I'm going to stick with it. As I always tell you, on every Big C Sports Show, I thank you. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day. Reparations now, reparations forever. As I always tell you, for the great Abraham Lincoln, reparations now, reparations forever. Let's say it one more time in honor of the great President Abraham Lincoln. Reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.